Welcome to Sports Investing by Phon'cya. I am Phon'cya, of course. And in this blog that I am doing, I am going to give you my picks of the week, starting with Thursday through Monday, NFL, college football, and I'm going to teach you the method that I use to bet. First, I'm going to go over the method. The method is basically, of course, it's gambling, so you will lose. But the method is supposed to make sure, well, I ain't going to say make sure, but with the method, how can I put that? You win 57% of the time if the method works correctly, and you're going to lose 43% of the time. With gambling, you're going to take some losses. It happens. Deal with it. But the point of the method is that if you win 57% of the time and you lose 43% of the time, you compound interest each week. It's kind of like when you put your money in the bank and they give you 2% interest every year, but you put your money into sports gambling and you get 7% back every week. Totally different and way better. So, the way the method is laid out is that you only need 10 straight different bets. And I cannot emphasize straight and different anymore because there's so many different types of bets. Parlays, teasers, blah, 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 blah. And then there's so many different ways you can bet these games. You can do the over and the under. You can do the halves. You can do the first half. You can do the second half. No. Bet the game, the whole game, and straight. Just 10 different games for this method. So, you start off with a bankroll. Doesn't matter how big or small your bankroll is, you start off with a bankroll. You will not put in any more money into this method if you do it right. So you start off with a bankroll. You take 5% of your bankroll, which becomes the amount of each bet. So let's say, hypothetical situation, your bankroll is $100. Each one of your bets will be $5 bets, which means out of your bankroll, you're only betting half of it. So, at the end of your week, you will have your total winnings and your remaining bankroll to put back together. Okay? Get to that part. So, at the beginning of the week, which is Thursday, after you done studied and picked your games, studying is very, very, very important. You have to know your team, you have to know your players, you have to know your offense, your defense, your coaches, who they fucking, who they not fucking, who they beating up, who they not beating up, all that type of shit. Because all that affects the game. Everything that happens off the field, on the field, in the locker room, at halftime with people quitting helps make your decision on who to pick. And it affects the game, ultimately. So, at the beginning of my week, what I do is I take 2 days of study. I study Tuesday and Wednesday. I look up every game for that week, but I look up every college and NFL game between Thursday and Monday, which is about 50 some odd games. For beginners, I suggest you study your 10 games. Don't do what I do and look at all the games. It's confusing. Study your 10 games and then pick. Okay? So, like I said, hypothetical situation, your bankroll is $100. The amount of your bet is $5. So you place your 10 bets. That's $50 out of your bankroll, which is hypothetically $100, which leaves you hypothetically $50. That's what you do at the beginning of the week. That's what you do before your games start. Now, you don't have to pick a Thursday night game. You don't have to pick a Friday night game. Most of the games are on Saturday and Sunday, of course. So, depending on the game, I may pick a Friday, I may pick a Thursday, I may have a Monday, but mostly my games are Saturday, Sundays. Once you done watched all of the games, well, let me say this. Don't look at your bets while you're watching the games. It will get on your nerves so bad. It gets on my nerves. But don't look at your bets. Just watch all the games, wait to the end on Monday night and tally up your wins and your losses. Okay? Now back to the method. Monday night is when I tally up my wins and my losses. So however much I've won, which is the amount of the bet plus the money won, okay, I add those together. And then that becomes my winnings. I add my winnings to my remaining bankroll to get a new bankroll come Thursday. Now, come Thursday, my bankroll is, of course, more than $100 than it was last week. That's the hypothetical number here we're using. It's more than $100 from last week. So my new amount of bet is 5% of the new bankroll. That's where your 7% interest comes in every single week, because your bankroll is going to grow as long as you're winning 57% of your bets, which means you have to win 6 out of 10 of your bets. That's it. Okay? Now, let's say hypothetical situation, you don't win 6 out of 10 of your bets. That's what your remaining bankroll is for, is to put together the rest of your winnings. Maybe you won 2 games, maybe you won 3 games. You still put it with your remaining bankroll, and the next week you bet 5% of that new bankroll. Whether you hit the 57% or not, you still bet 5% of your bankroll. Okay? If y'all didn't understand that explanation of my method, I will put the link to the YouTube video where I learned it, because it's not something I came up with by myself. I did learn this of years and years and years and years of gambling. I learned an investing method. That's what we're going to call it, an investing method. Okay. Now on to my picks of the week. So we got about 50 some odd games going on. What I do is I go through every single game, and first of all, I see what the lines are. The lines is the spread that comes from Vegas. You can figure out what these lines are by going to www.covers.com or espn.com. You can download the ESPN app. They'll give you what the line of the game is. First of all, if I figure out what the lines of the games are for all of the games that are playing, then I go through, and this is just me, I go through, and since I know these teams and I've bet on these teams over the years, I go through and see who I like, and I put a little dot beside it. So when I get to them in my studying process, I look at them a little harder. I'll look at like the running back, especially in college. I look at the running back. I look at the trends. I'll look at the quarterback. I'll look, things like that. You really don't need to get to know the names of the players in college. That doesn't matter. In college betting, it's more about trends and other factors. In NFL, it's more players and coaches and, learn these men's name, know what they're doing on and off the field, things like that. So I went through all my college games, which is like, I picked 48 games. And out of those 48 games, for my 10 picks, I picked 7. Okay, so I have 7 college picks, and I have 3 NFL picks for this week. So I'm starting with my college picks. Relight my J. Yeah. My first college pick is a Thursday night game. Okay, it's Tulsa playing Temple in Temple. Tulsa is plus 7.5. Now, the reason why I took this plus 7.5 is because, first of all, Temple sucks. Second of all, what you need to know about lines is that the home team kind of automatically gets 3 points. So, truth be told, the true line of this game is Temple minus 4.5, which means they still have to win by a touchdown. A touchdown is 7 points. I think we all know this. So, by them giving Temple 7.5, that means they have to win by more than a touchdown. So a touchdown and another touchdown, or a touchdown and a field goal. I don't want to risk it with Temple. So I get a points to Tulsa. So that means even if Temple wins by a touchdown, I still win with that half a point, which is called a hook. Okay? Look up these words. Hook, spread, all that. My next pick is North Carolina State. North Carolina State is playing blah, blah, blah. Marshall, in Marshall. Marshall is okay. The line is Marshall plus 5.5. I took North Carolina State minus 5.5, which means all they got to do for me is win by a touchdown. If they win by a field goal, I'm fucked. Okay? Next pick, Georgia Tech plus 17. Georgia Tech is playing Clemson in Georgia Tech. Tough game. This is an ACC game. You know what I mean? Tough game. But Clemson really hasn't been living up to their potential this year. I'm more of a Georgia Tech fan anyway, since Nesbitt was there a few years ago. So I'm taking my squad. Because 17 points means 2 touchdowns and a field goal that Clemson would have to, well, more than that, because that would be a push. But I'm taking Georgia Tech. Arkansas plus 29.5. Arkansas is playing Auburn in Auburn. Auburn ain't going to beat nobody by more than 4 touchdowns. They going to beat them now. Don't get it fucked up. They going to beat them. And they going to beat them by like 21, maybe 27 points. But not 29.5. So I took Arkansas. My next pick is Army. Army is playing Oklahoma in Oklahoma. Once again, another situation. Oklahoma going to beat that ass, but not by 31.5 points. They haven't been covering this year. They've been playing well. I bet on them last week and lost. Their line last week was like minus 30 against some fluke team. They didn't cover. Point is, Oklahoma not covering this year, so I'm going to take Army. The option that they run, they not going to lose by, I don't think, more than 21 points. So 31.5 is too much anyway. Next team, Baylor. Baylor's in Baylor minus 7.5 against Kansas. Now, the reason why I am okay with the hook on this one is because Baylor lost to a team last week that they should have beat. Okay? Baylor is awesome. Actually, they've been pretty good since RG3 left too. So, I'm a Baylor girl. They're in Baylor. I'm taking Baylor minus the 7.5 points. Last college team is going to be Missouri plus 14.5. Missouri is playing Georgia. Normally, I would take Georgia. Normally, I'm a Georgia girl. But in Missouri, and the way Georgia's been playing, I flipped a coin on this one. So, I took Missouri plus 14.5. My college picks. My 3 NFL picks to finish off my 10-teamer is the Bengals plus 3. The Bengals are playing Cam and them in Carolina. Normally I would go with Cam, but the Bengals beat the holy shit out of all I remember is they beat the holy shit out of somebody last week. And I didn't have them, which kind of pissed me off a little bit. Yeah. The Bengals beat the holy shit. I ain't going to say the holy shit, but in NFL, 9 points is like the holy shit. They beat the holy shit out of the Ravens in Cincinnati. Now, they're playing in Carolina. I'm taking the Bengals. Plus 3. Just leave it like that. Jaguars. Hold on. I got the Jaguars. Who are they playing? Jaguars minus 6.5. They're at home. They playing Tennessee Titans. Now, I've been a Mariani fan since he was in college. I would go with Mariani, but he hasn't really played well this year, and they had a cancellation game 2 weeks ago. So he hasn't had enough time to get his, I guess, routine going or whatever. And the Jaguars ain't that bad. You know what I mean? They just beat the Patriots last week. So you take the 6.5 points. All they got to do is beat them by a touchdown. I think that could happen. And also, my last pick, of course, is the Patriots minus 6.5. They got their ass beat by Jacksonville last week. This shit ain't gonna happen again. It really don't matter who they playing. They playing Detroit. But it really don't matter who they playing, where they playing. Brady ain't having that shit. Brady gonna come out and demolish Detroit. So, those are my 10 picks. Tulsa, plus 7.5. North Carolina State, minus 5.5. Georgia Tech, plus 17. Arkansas, plus 29.5. Army, plus 31.5. Baylor, minus 7.5. Missouri, plus 14.5. Bengals, plus 3. Jaguars, minus 6.5. And the Patriots, minus 6.5. Those are my picks for the week. Now, I normally go, I guess, about 60%. Last week I had a rough week. Rough week. We're not even going to go there. But the week before that, I had a pretty good week where I picked almost 80%. So, do your studying with anything. You got to know what the hell you betting on. Do your studying. The way I'm going to do this blog is I'm going to give my picks and I'm going to continue with the method on Wednesday nights. Okay? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, I'm going to watch the games. Monday nights, I'm going to tally up. Either Monday night or Tuesday morning, I'm going to post a recap of my picks, whether they won or lost, either way. And I'll tally up the money for you and everything in the method each and every week so you can see how the 7% compounds over a football season or a basketball season or however long you want to do this. But you have to have a period of time so your interest can compound. Of course, the more money you put into it, the more interest you'll make. But it is what it is. So, that was my picks for the week. That was the method. I'll holler at y'all. Say Monday night. I'm not a morning person. So, Monday night. It was Phon'cya doing Sports Investing by Phon'cya. Bye.